Welcome back to another Me Guys Lookova video. Yeah, it's another Kamen Rider video this time. I know I'm predictable and all, but why don't y'all watch my non-Toku videos? Like, thank you for 16k on my Soldier video, but where's the love for the BNA review? Where is the love for my girl Komi at? What, y'all want a co-host or something? Here you go, Seo, the aborted running bit. How many people do you think clicked off already? Just roll the intro, please.
What's the next stage?
Kamen Rider Double follows the story of Shotaro Idari and his partner Philip, as they solve cases and check the streets of Fudo from dopant. Using the power of USBs known as Gaia memories, they become the 2-in-1 detective, Kamen Rider Double. In this, they're also joined by the daughter of Shotaro's late mentor, Akiko Narumi. Later on, they're also joined by another Kamen Rider, Ryu Terry or Kamen Rider Axel, a detective that works with police specialized in dopant-related crimes. The creator of the dopants, thus our heroes and main enemies throughout the series, it's the Nozaki family, of Ryubei, Saikyo, and Wakana, who run the organization known as Museum. Yeah, so like Forza, Double is a very episodic show, as its events are portrayed in the 2-episode arc format, which I think Double does not as good as Forza. Not because the episodes are bad, but I generally find a lot of the dopant stories to be pretty boring outside of how much they progress the main 4 characters in the show. Especially compared to the Zodiarts, which I feel almost always had like actually interesting stories, even if the Kamen Rider Club didn't progress as characters really during that specific arc. But hey, on that note, let's talk about Double's characters. Shotaro is a hard-boiled detective, well at least that is what he wants to believe. In reality, he's nothing but a kind-hearted dork, who wants to protect Fudo and its citizens. Philip, on the other hand, is literally the smartest being in the world due to his connection with the planet's Gaia memory, allowing him to access all information in the known world from the Gaia library. Due to his amnesia, Philip often gets hyperfixated on the things that he looks up to the point where it gets in the way of his detective work, of being more interactive Google. The two of them are able to balance each other out pretty well, and Double's only as strong as it is due to their differences. The best example of this is shown through the Extreme arc, as Shotaro is seemingly just not able to keep up with Philip's rising power, leading Philip to try and ask Terry to become his partner. But this doesn't work because Harry just isn't a good match for Philip. For Double to become stronger, it needs 2 people who balance each other out. Philip, a man drenched in logic, thought, and reason, won't become stronger for Terry, another man steeped in logic, thought, and reason. But Philip will become stronger for Shotaro, a man who acts on his emotions. This realization leads to them awakening Double's true power of Cyclone Joker Extreme, being able to access the power of the true Gaia memory. A power that could only be gained by 2 people who, no matter what issues they have, will ride together till the very end. Peak writing, to be honest. Also, Shotaro and Philip are just mad funny, bro. Philip continually dunks on Shotaro for his constant and failed attempts to be more serious by calling him half-boiled. Alongside Shotaro's complete confusion and shock at Philip's random hyperfixations of the week is always funny to me and helps make their sort of brotherly dynamic feel more genuine outside of how they operate together as Double. All in all, they're just one great duo. Ryu Terry is our titular secondary rider. He's a cop in everything Shotaro wishes he was. A serious man filled with rage and want revenge for his family against Asaka, or the Weather Real Pun. But he soon learned his mentality is toxic, hurting him and the people around him, as his arc has him grow past his negative mentality after being confronted with it by other people who have similar mentalities to him. Such as in the Invisibility arc, where he encounters a famous magician's granddaughter, who is willing to use the power of the invisible memory, and died to have her grandfather's final performance go well, for how sad her grandfather would be with her dying. It reflects his mentality of being willing to fight alone and die if it means killing Asaka, but how sad his new friend Shotaro, Philip, and Akiko would be, leading him to saving her and deciding not to fight Asaka alone for now. This is also portrayed in the arc where Terry finally defeats Asaka with his new form, Trial, where he meets a woman who reminds him of his late sister, who also happens to have her family killed by Asaka. But unlike before, where Terry would have only stuck around to try and defeat Asaka, he stays around to comfort her. Even when he finally defeats Asaka, he's more focused on whether or not this woman's okay, or if he killed Asaka, showing true growth as his life now has more meaning than whether or not he killed this one guy, finally leaving his finish line of despair to a finish line of hope. Oh yeah, I also put Akiko in the section because, well, they're married after the series. Yeah, Akiko's a pretty funny character. While like most female characters in these shows, she doesn't get that much focus, but whenever she does, it's a good time. And she's essentially just what if Shotaro was a girl with experience of being a detective and didn't care about being cooler than they are. Which kind of makes her essentially that emotional person who needs to balance out the more logic-based Terry, making another perfect pair. The only bad thing about Akiko is I wish the stuff with her dad was covered in Double proper instead of the movies, but she's good enough in the final series to make up for it. We finally to the villains of the series, starting off with the patriarch, Ryubei, or the Terra Dopant, who wants to use the city of Fudo as a testing ground to understand Gaia memories, in order to enact the fated Gaia Impact for humanity to evolve, which at first was a noble goal, till his 5-year-old son Raito Sonozaki died and was born as a new being connected to the true Gaia memory, leading to Ryubei abusing Raito and his eldest child, Saito, until Raito was saved by Shoro and his master and became Philip. Yes, they did have Philip's real name be Raito, because he forms the right half of Double. But back to Ryubei, he's not all that interesting to be honest, aside from the fact that he's a father and how his bad parenting affects his 2 daughters. Also that he made his cat Mick, or the Smilodon Dopant, one of his enforcers. Back to his kids. Psycho, or the Taboo Dopant, was forced to be part of Ryubei's experiment since she was in middle school. Which if you were forced to be part of your father's secret drug/eugenics business, you'd probably also be as much of a terrible person as Psycho is. She essentially puts out all the pain and rage she feels on her sister and the people around her. Her character is mainly explored through her relationship with her 3 suitors throughout the show. You first have Kirihiko, or the Nazca Dopant, who is a cool guy aside from acting with the show in the city he loves so much by selling drugs throughout his community, as he actively loved the character of Psycho, asking her to run away with him when he decides to leave the organization. Psycho decides to kill him instead, as well. Despite her father's treatment of her, she still values the organization more, and Kirihiko's kindness was sadly not the thing to make her turn against her father. What she needed was a man who was like her father, but actively on her side, so here comes Asaka, a doctor who moonlights as a psychopathic serial killer. Asaka shows Psycho basic love and affection while being a scumbag, making her gravitate towards him and plan to use him to overthrow her father. Which kinda works until Excel finally kills Asaka, and Psycho is now labeled as traitor to the organization, leading to her final suitor, Kazuo, or the Utopia Dopant, taking her in during her time of need, as he wants to use her as the figurehead of his version of the Gaia Impact. It involves anyone who isn't strong enough to become a Dopant dying. But Psycho rejects him and his plans as she no longer cares about the organization's goals. She no longer needs weird men. Sadly, her act of defiance ended her death, dying in a much better light than when the show started. You know, she sucked as a person throughout. But we finally get to his other daughter, Okana, or the Playdoll Dopant. Despite being the middle child, she's the most well-treated of the Zonoku children, which led to her having the disdain for ends she deems as annoying towards her, only neutralized by one person, her brother Raito, now Philip, which is her arc throughout the show, as she rejects the organization more and more as she realizes that it's not what makes her happy or fulfilled. Until the last 10 episodes, where she suddenly becomes really obsessed with the organization to the point where she's willing to finally take Philip back to their home. A character change so sudden and out of nowhere, it makes me want to stop talking about her. The final character is Shroud, the family's mother, who isn't even a villain, and she's been actively orchestrating everything to do with the writers throughout the show. Yeah, that's all I have to say about her. But yeah, we're done with Double. Despite how little I talked about it, Double is a pretty good show. Obviously the main 4 are the real highlight to me, but they're legitimately strong enough to carry the show and make it an overall fun watching experience. See you in another review where I'm hopefully just as positive. And also remember to watch some videos I recommended at the beginning, man. Show my girl Komi some love!